If you are pursuing a career in STEAM in school, it's likely you're very busy. You may think that long-distance travel is impossible if you have a heavy workload. I know I did. That is, until I saw a few of my friends do it. It may not be easy, but it's certainly not impossible. Making sure you have balance in your life is one of the most important things to keep in mind as you study. How to achieve that balance? Well, keep watching. Welcome to another episode of The Scene in STEAM. My guest today is Desiree Brown. Desiree, I'm so happy to have you on the show today.
Jade, I am honored to be here, honestly. Thank you so much.
Yes, so you are a Spanish major, a biology minor, correct?
That is correct. This is a recent change. I was doing a double major, but you do not need 2 majors to get to medical school. So, but I'm very happy with my major.
That's good. So for your Spanish major, you had to travel abroad, right, to Spain for a year, although the pandemic cut it short.
Yes.
And then you also have to study biology here before you went and now are continuing. So how was that?
Yeah, so you kind of hinted at it. So once I returned from Spain, I had a couple of courses to kind of finish up regarding like my prerequisites for medicine. And so I guess this last year, once I realized like, oh, I just took biochemistry and I'm kind of finished. I don't need to take any more classes to get to medical school. That's when I kind of made that decision to change. So, yeah.
And what led you to wanting to take on Spanish as a major? Because it's not always the traditional path to do a language as a major when you're wanting to go to med school.
Exactly. And it's actually kind of ironic because in high school, I did not take Spanish. I took French. And so when I got here, it was just kind of like laid before me of like, okay, when you get to Oakwood, you're either going to be a biology major, a biomedical major, or like a biochemistry major, chemistry maybe if you want to be a doctor. And so I just kind of went the bio route. And one thing I know about myself indefinitely is that I really like connecting with people. And so freshman year, I was well connected to a lot of different people. And one of the communities that I really wanted to engage with more was the Hispanic population that we have here on camera, very big. And so I was like, wait a second, I could just learn Spanish. And so it started as just like I just want to like hang out with them. And so I would eat lunch. And then I was like, wait, I actually really want to learn Spanish. And I was like, wait, I actually really want to travel. And then I was surrounded by like a community of students, me, Nina, David, and Aaron, who were all kind of like doing a Spanish type thing. And so it's actually Jade who introduced me to one of the people who kind of led me to kind of like considering going to Spain. And so that is kind of the initial reason why I decided, is because I really like connecting. Language learning is really fun and I want to be a doctor. So it's just like, why not?
I did introduce you to. I forgot about that.
Yes, you did.
So in doing those things and doing what you love, talking to people, meeting new people, and going new places, what are some challenges that you faced having Spanish and biology and doing them together?
Oh, man. Because, okay, Oakwood University is a very small college. There's not a lot of room for like niches and flexibility, like at all. Unfortunately, I guess the pathway to doing what I was doing or what I was trying to do, which was doing a dual major, there isn't a lot of like room for error. And so it's kind of like there's a sequence of classes you have to take for biology. And so what I found after I returned from Spain was that biology kind of took the forefront because, of course, I need to take my microbiology and then organic chemistry. And so it felt as if I was always at odds between the two of like, but I'm also like trying to pursue my Spanish major, but there's no time for me to like have, the 30-hour conversations in Spanish that I want to have.
Right.
Because I'm so stressed with like my classes and I want to get a degree and do well. So I will say definitely it was always a struggle with balance and prioritizing. So I will say those were probably the 2 biggest issues I had with my majors. We don't even talk about all the other extracurricular things I had going on. But I'll say like it's always trying to figure out what to prioritize, because it's not that I wanted to procrastinate all of my Spanish papers to the last minute, but it kind of lended itself to doing that. So
yeah, well, you do have a lot of other extracurriculars that you do, and in all that you do, Miss Oakwood, you went to Spain, you are doing research, you have all your coursework on top of that, and your platform as Miss Oakwood is wellness. And in all that you had to do and finding balance, were you able to find that balance, and were you able to figure out how to take care of your own mental health and your own wellness in this journey?
yeah, so so I'm still currently Miss Oakwood, and my platform is wellness and community. And yeah, so it's wellness and community, and like it's very ironic because though it is my platform, I feel like I'm on a constant like journey to try to like recultivate that in like every context in life, because I feel like life is like, my life right now is different than it was last semester, and so I'm always having to kind of return to that. And so I definitely will say I did find success in the midst of all the chaos. However, I was not perfect. You know what I'm saying? So it was, I don't know. Can you give me a more specific question? Because life was a little crazy this semester, especially.
Definitely. What are the kinds of things you do to have balance, or that you go back to when you feel like it's just become too much?
Oh, okay. So one thing I always return to is just like wellness. So like, what does it mean for me to be well? And so I feel like the tenets of wellness would be like my mental wellness, my spiritual wellness, my emotional wellness, my social wellness. And so it's kind of like, okay, what are the main things right now that are causing those things to be deteriorated? And so one thing that I've kind of returned to are like the basics. Like, am I sleeping enough? Am I eating? Am I connecting with others? Like, am I in a season of like self-isolation? Because those are, or like, am I praying? And so those are like things that I kind of like check first. And like, I guess it has to come with like a certain sense of like self-awareness, because in those seasons I have to kind of like look, I'm like, is it school, or is it like people? Is it all the things that I have on my plate? Like, what needs to be like removed so that I can kind of get back in touch with those like tenets. Yeah, that's kind of like the process I go through. And then the process of actually implementing that, I will say, kind of comes down to just like, what do I think is most important? Like, do I love myself enough to prioritize these things and like make sure that I'm okay? And then I find that once I do, and like I simplify things, and I come back to like, staying well and like staying connected to others, then things just kind of like fall back into place. But it's always ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
I have my highs and I have my lows.
Definitely. I definitely don't think there's ever such thing as a perfect week or everything's great all the time. Mm-hmm. So, it's definitely good to acknowledge, I feel like, as STEAM majors, that we not always having the best week, or we're struggling sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you recommend to someone who's, wanting to study abroad and is also interested in STEM and wanting to do?
Yeah, so I would say do it, because it makes you so much like more complex and like, I guess, diversified when it comes to how you process the world around you. I think to some extent, even though it wasn't like the experience itself, like taking 6 months to remove myself from like science, though it wasn't necessarily like pouring into like that medicine bag or like, my medicine journey, it adds so much to you as a not as just like a medical school applicant, but just as a person. I think it's really easy once you start into the path of medicine to get so like kind of like like tunnel vision, and you forget that life exists outside of just like your biology and science courses. And so I think exposing yourself to the extremes that come about when you're inserting yourself in a different country, surrounding yourself in a different culture, and learning a new language, it is just really important. I would say if you have the opportunity to do so and you also desire it, then do it.
I like that. So last question. You're very active on social media and you share a lot about your journey and what you're going through on social media, but you're also very intelligent and you have, a lot of work to do. with your
Lots of work to do, yes.
Yeah. So someone who's wanting to balance their lives and have a strong social media presence and still be academically successful, what would you say to them? How do you balance those things?
I guess one thing that I always return to is the system of prioritizing. So like one of the reasons why I had so much trouble juggling all the hats, and I struggle, like I'm not perfect. This is coming from just like a full humility of the sense that like, you know, whatever I'm able to produce in different seasons, I give God the glory, because it was really just him just kind of helping me kind of manage. But I'll say just like knowing what your priority is most important, and like processing that effectively, because at the end of the day, you can't do everything well. And so to some extent, it's going to just take acceptance that, oh, right now, this is my priority. And so everything else is just going to kind of have to take the back burner. But when you look back at like kind of all the instances where you were able to prioritize in different seasons, you're kind of able to see that more big picture. But like what you see of my life and like all the things that I've done has really just come about of just like me learning to navigate and like learning what to say yes to and what to say no to. I didn't do a good job when it came to taking care of myself a lot of the times, but I realized that like to some extent, if there's something that you really want to do, you're just gonna have to sacrifice. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, it's not easy, and it's hard to kind of figure out like how to manage, but I will say like whatever's the most important to you, you'll make time to do it.
Desiree, thank you so much for coming today. Talking with
Having
me.
me.
Yes, thank you for talking with me. You guys can follow Desiree at Desiree Brown _ on Instagram, and you can check the link in the description for more details. Thank you so much for watching.